Let's move ahead. We are set now for light heavyweights. He of great speed, he of lethal hands. Italian-born Alessio Sakara faces an integral part of Team Punishment, Tito's team for years, who tonight hopes to leave his own mark. Our tale of the tape brought to you by Zion's Extreme Supplements. Great taste, extreme energy. Available at GNC stores nationwide. The 24-year-old Alessio Sakara against the 30-year-old boogeyman, Dean Lister. One of the masters of Team Punishment. And Lister has a reach advantage, but as Randy and Joe both talked about, Lister wants this fight on the canvas as quickly as possible. A new member of the UFC family, Jenny Lee, working the octagon along with the beautiful Rochelle Leah here tonight. So we are set for Alessio Sakara and Dean Lister. Interesting to note, as Herb Dean gets these men started, that Dean Lister had David Loiseau in his corner. So Lister told all of us he's worked a lot less jiu-jitsu. He's kind of got that BJJ down, obviously, and a lot more Muay Thai to prepare for this fight. And obviously, he might even try to use his hands in reverse to defend himself against Alessio Sakara.
Big right hand
Explosive
by
is Sakara.
Big right hand there by Lister. Mel Menner, from the Muay Thai trainer for Dean Lister, is a very, very good trainer. Work with him a little bit. Talk about trade secrets to see if David Loiseau has dropped any of those elbow secrets for Dean.
He of lethal elbows, David Loiseau, who was just extremely tough and dedicated in his defeat for the 185-pound fight against Rich Franklin.
Dean shot in for the takedown and then immediately pulled guard. He's got an excellent guard. It looks like he's working towards an omoplata.
As you said, ground skill-wise, one of the best in the world, Joe.
For sure. Unquestionably.
Does he have it here, Randy?
He doesn't have control of the body, though. He's got to get his arm around the back of the waist.
It looks like he's using his legs rather than getting up around his waist. He's using his legs to hold him in the position.
Joe, what does Alessio even try to do here? I mean, obviously he wants to free the arm, but in what fashion can he do so?
He can roll out of it, he can tuck under, he can throw his right arm under and try to roll Dean Lister up, but Dean Lister's gonna wind up on top, or he can try to yank his arm out of it, which is what he's trying to do there.
And he does. So he pulls his arm out, and Lister, again, though, very comfortable in this position.
He is a very dangerous guard. I mean, Dean Lister is excellent in all positions. He is a full, well-rounded submission specialist.
Interesting character, speaks 4 languages, Portuguese, Spanish, he's almost fluent in French, and of course English. He grew up in several South American countries, including Venezuela and Panama. Lived in Panama during the US invasion in 1989. Right in the middle of a serious combat zone, and so he didn't speak the language, he had to fight.
Dean Lister setting up a triangle. You see, he controlled the right arm, he's got the triangle locked in. Now he's got to get a hold of Alessio's leg to keep him from standing up. He's done that, he broke him down. Now he's going to either pull on the head or perhaps going to pull on his leg and squeeze down on Alessio Sakara's head. See how he's pushing with his leg, or grabbing his hand rather on his leg?
Just a tap.
And it's all over. It is all over. Dean Lister has submitted Alessio Sakara.
Wow.
And the ground game reigns supreme.
Beautiful, beautiful jiu-jitsu. If you see, he grabbed a hold of Alessio's arm to control it. He got a hold of that wrist and immediately threw that leg over and locked in that triangle. Grabbed a hold of his own knee, used that to pull down and apply more pressure. Alessio was forced to tap out.
You know, he has waited a long time to come from behind the scenes of Team Punishment to be the man in the spotlight tonight, and Lister disappoints none, including, I'm sure, his very good friend, Tito Ortiz. Take a look at how it finished here as Dean Lister wins by submission.
If you look at Dean Lister's right arm, he's controlling Alessio's left arm. See how he did that and he threw his leg over? He's doing that just to set up that position. Controlling that wrist, throws that triangle over, locks it in place, and then pulls. You see how he uses his right arm to pull down on his knee, applying even more pressure. He grabs that there and squeezes it tight. And Alessio is forced to tap. You see his face is just red as a plum right there. He hung on as long as he can, but he realized he's gonna have to tap out. Beautiful submission by Dean Lister. That's just pure technique right there.
Yeah, baby.
Well, it was well advertised that he has incredible ground skills, and Lister is victorious. Bruce Bumper.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Herb Dean has called a stop to this contest at 2 minutes 20 seconds of the very first round. For the winner by tap out due to a triangle choke, the Boogeyman, Dean Lister.
You know, UFC fans, the story is well documented. A man named Gracie, he basically created a system to allow the little man to survive in a fight against the big man. Gracie is here in attendance tonight. His son, Royce Gracie, brought that system into the octagon. Soon afterwards, he became a legend and a UFC Hall of Famer. Matt Hughes tonight wants to tell Royce Gracie that he respects Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but times have changed. Matt Hughes tonight wants to send a message to all that the game has changed and Royce's time is now in the past.
Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest fighter to ever step into the octagon.
A jiu-jitsu master, Royce Gracie.
This is the guy who single-handedly redefined martial arts in this country.
Just tapped out. Just tapped out. That's amazing. There's the tap. There's the tap. That is the power of jiu-jitsu in action.
Everything what I am is Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
There it is. He's tapping out. That's it. Beautiful technique by Gracie.
I'm not just part of the history, I am the history.
Trying to get an arm lock. He's got it. Nemo tapped out. Nemo tapped out.
This is my house, I built it.
That's it. Oh, he choked him out.
What we've learned tonight is fighting is not what we thought it was.
Exactly.
I want to know how Matt Hughes is going to beat me. I'm curious to know that. He's talking, saying that he's gonna knock me out, that he's gonna take me down, ground and pound, and the judge will give it to him. I wanna see that.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the greatest welterweight of all time.
Look at the strength of Matt Hughes. Could be the best. Something to be said about Matt Hughes.
The Gracies have always said that their way is the best and you don't need to learn anything else. And I get to prove to them, you know, all of them, that they're wrong.
Matt Hughes shows the full gauntlet of techniques. He can strike, he can wrestle, and he's got submissions.
That proves that my family were very good instructors. So to me, if you choke me out or armbar me, it's a compliment.
He's somewhat old school to where I don't think he's gonna pull a submission off. I don't think he's gonna come close.
Give me time and I'll submit you.
The arm lock, he'll break his arm. He's gonna snap his arm. He did.
It looked like an arm lock. He probably broke his arm.
I want to beat him for 3 rounds, him stand up, barely look out of his eyes, and say, this sport has changed.
That he's gonna beat me up, that he's gonna do this and gonna do that. Good, I'm glad he's very confident.
The test is definitely on Royce, I think. I mean, he's the one that's gonna have to do something to win the fight. All I gotta do is go out and not make mistakes, and I'm gonna be fine.
If I make a mistake, he can knock me out. If I make a mistake, he can submit me. But it go both ways. Don't make a mistake, because I'll be right there to capitalize on that.
I really think that Royce is gonna have a rude awakening, and he's either gonna need to go to school or retire.
I'm gonna choke him out, I'm gonna apply a submission hold. Make him quit. Help him up, send him home.
Well, Joe, in the words of Royce Gracie, I have no idea how Matt Hughes believes he's going to beat me. How can Matt Hughes beat Royce Gracie?
First of all, Matt Hughes can beat him if he decides to keep the fight standing. I believe Matt Hughes has superior stand-up. Matt Hughes has an excellent ground game. His jiu-jitsu is just as beautiful as any Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt I've ever seen in the octagon. Matt Hughes has a variety of skills, but he's fighting a very proud man with a history of victory in the octagon.
Randy Couture, we bring the natural back in. Randy, we talked a moment ago about that wrestling instinct. If you go to the ground, you go to Royce's strength. But can Matt really, can Matt resist the temptation?
Can Matt stay composed and not get over-aggressive and not put this fight on the ground because that's his background? That's the question. Can Royce Gracie find a way to put this fight on the ground or stand with Matt and weather the storm? That's the question.
For Royce Gracie, Joe talked about it, pride. Pride not only for himself, pride for his family, pride for everything he is. That's a pretty strong motivator.
Absolutely. Royce Gracie's putting the Gracie mystique on the line in this fight and stepping up now years later since he defeated all those big guys in the open division and going against probably the pound for the pound, the strongest guy in this sport.
Hey, let's bring Joe back in real quickly to talk about that, because Royce Gracie says, all right, Matt, I make a mistake, you try to pounce. But if Matt Hughes makes a mistake, kid you not, Royce Gracie can finish this fight.
For sure. I mean, Royce Gracie is a brilliant submission specialist. He's fought guys much, much larger than him in the past. Recently submitted Akibono in Japan, who's over 400 pounds. So for sure, if Matt Hughes makes a mistake, Royce Gracie can capitalize. The question is Matt Hughes going to make that mistake? We've only seen Matt Hughes lose a couple times by submission, by Dennis Hallman, who is a very fast and explosive guy, and by BJ Penn, who first cracked him and rocked him with a punch and then took his back and submitted him. Matt Hughes can lose by submission, but he's also a guy that's shown that he really has evolved with the times, really has changed his game, and has incredibly well-rounded skills and is freakishly gorilla strong.
The last time he really truly lost by submission, Matt Hughes will tell you, was a very, very long time ago, and tonight will not be another time. Celebrity packed house, as we said here at the Staples Center. Let's get their prediction for the main event of the evening.
It's tough. I'm gonna have to go with Matt Hughes tonight, for sure, definitely. Matt Hughes and Royce Gracie. Well, I'm an old schooler, you know. I'm an old timer, and you know, nobody at the UFC would even have like ground game if it wasn't for Royce Gracie. So my heart's going with him.
Bottom line is, I want to see a submission tonight. I think we have to remember, I think without Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I think UFC would be incomplete. And anybody who says otherwise is a fool. So I think we owe a lot of respect to the Gracie family and what they brought. And I just want to see a good fight. I like the ground game, so I want to see a submission.
Being that they could both kick my ass, I'll probably say Royce Gracie. Because Royce, whatever, I just know he could choke anything and break anybody body. He'll put you in a toe lock. You know, he grab your nose and do something like that. Put your eye in some kind of broken eye socket trick maneuver. That boy is nasty. So, you know, I think Hughes is big and strong, and he looked like the juggernaut without his helmet on. But I just think that Gracie just knows how to put anything in the lock.
Tonight, Matt Hughes all the way. Matt's come a long way. He's got great rounded skills. And I just think, I mean, Royce is a great fighter, and he's a very tough guy. But I just don't think he has the tools to beat Matt Hughes.
I kind of like what Mr. Wayans said. He described it in his own unique fashion. It is time for our main event of the evening. With a great look of determination and drive, Royce Gracie, UFC Hall of Famer with his father Elio, entering the octagon with him as Royce returns to the UFC for the first time since 1995.
What you are looking at right there is one of the most famous and most influential martial artists in the history of the world. You're talking about a guy who changed everybody's perceptions about fighting. With his performances in the early UFCs, he completely redefined how everybody looks at fighting, and everybody looks at what is effective in real competition, real confrontation. And he did it in the old days with no rules and no time limits. Now here he is, agreeing to fight on basically completely different terms. 3 5-minute rounds, not nearly as much time to prepare, no gi, fighting with shorts on. This is going to be a very, very interesting fight.
Often asked, how did that little man finish off those opponents much larger? it was Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. And the carrier was that man, Royce Gracie. But he will tell you that he is not the legend. Royce will quickly say, the legend is my father, Elio. Royce Gracie has never been submitted. He is a perfect 11-0 in the UFC. Talk about a look of confidence. Matt Hughes, extremely confident.
I'm sure he's pretty happy that he doesn't have to cut that extra 5 pounds.
There you go.
I think that extra water weight's on his shirt right there.
You can tell us about that. I mean, Matt Hughes is probably walks around about 190 pounds and regularly cuts down to 170. How much of a difference do you think that extra 5 pounds is going to be?
Well, I think more than anything, it allows him to mentally just relax a little bit. He doesn't have to worry about that extra 5 pounds. So, you know, that takes a little pressure off. It's a little more enjoyable.
As we said right at the top of the show, when Royce Gracie back in 1993 was defeating 3 opponents on the same night in 4 minutes and 50 seconds, Matt Hughes was pretty much pinning his way to success as an All-American wrestler from Hillsboro, Illinois. 2-time state champion in high school All-American, a 2-time collegiate All-American who now has redefined every fighter in the world at 170 pounds as truly the most dominant welterweight in mixed martial arts history.
Yeah, you're talking about a guy who is a superior athlete, an elite athlete, who has embraced all the other aspects of fighting. Started off as a great wrestler and used that same ability and translated it into striking, translated into submissions. I mean, his submissions are just top-notch. This is from a guy who originally started out with no submissions, just a ground-and-pound wrestler. But now he's got beautiful transitions that are as good as anybody else in the game.
The history of this sport is well documented. It goes back to 1993, and tonight the past is set to face the present. Our tale of the tape for this, our main event of the evening, brought to you by Zion's Extreme Supplements, great taste, extreme energy, available at GNC stores nationwide. Yes, fans, he's only 39 years old. A huge reach advantage for Royce Gracie, but we wouldn't think the stand-up game would make a difference. But long limbs mean great submission control. Matt Hughes is 32. Matt Hughes weighs in at 175.5. Of course, this is not a title fight. It's scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds in the catch weight, if you will, of 175 pounds. Official introductions of this historic event from Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this UFC contest is sanctioned by the California State Athletic Commission, with Marty Keller, Chairman, and Executive Director Armando Garcia. Our judges at Octagon side are Richard Bertrand, Alejandro Rochin, and Cecil Peoples. And our doctor is Dr. Van Lemons. When the action begins, our referee in charge of the Octagon is Big John McCarthy. This event is sponsored by Zions Zenergy. Zenergy, great taste, extreme energy. And Mickey's Fine Malt Liquor, the official beer of the UFC, Mickey's Got Stung. And now, 2 warriors have entered the Octagon. One, a UFC legend, and the other, a UFC champion. Live from Staples Center here in Los Angeles, California, it's time! This fight is a UFC catchweight contest consisting of 3 5-minute rounds. Introducing first, the warrior standing in the blue corner. This man is a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu fighter and is undefeated in the octagon with a professional record of 11 wins and no losses. He stands 6 feet 1 inch tall and weighed in at 175 pounds. Fighting out of Torrance, California, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back the UFC 1 tournament champion, the UFC 2 tournament champion, and the UFC 4 tournament champion, the legendary UFC Hall of Fame Octagon Warrior, Royce Gracie. And now introducing the champion standing in the red corner. This man is an MFS elite fighter. He holds a professional record of 40 wins with 4 losses. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall and weighed in at 175 1/2 pounds. Fighting out of Hillsboro, Illinois, he is considered the most dominant welterweight fighter in UFC history. Ladies and gentlemen, the undisputed UFC welterweight champion of the world, Matt Hughes.
Okay, gentlemen, you received your instructions in your locker room. Got any questions from you, Royce? Any questions from you, Matt? Fight clean, fight hard, fight fair, touch gloves, let's go back.
Wow. I can't believe we're gonna see this. Wow. Royce Gracie is gonna fight Matt Hughes, and we're at the Staples Center.
It is a night that will live forever. Royce Gracie, Matt Hughes, Big John McCarthy, our referee.
All right, here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get on!
The legend has returned.
Kick.
Yep, Royce has been working strikes, and it won't be a surprise to some of us if Royce tries to use the high kick on more than one occasion. Royce would love to get this down to the ground and try to use his submission power. But again, we wonder if he can do so unless Matt wants it to be there. Matt steps away. Matt would usually look immediately to shoot, but not in this case. At least that's what he told me yesterday. And Matt returns with a kick.
Nice leg kick by Hughes.
You see Matt go into that almost explosion mode, Randy, and you expect him to be looking double leg, but he's not in this situation.
He's staying very composed. He's measuring.
Answers with the kick. Matt said it's taken him a long time, but he's getting better than his longtime training partner, Pat Miletich, with the hands. Said, I'm finally getting the better of Pat. Superman punch. And they tie up. Gracie understands defense better than anyone in the world.
And you're talking about a guy who has fought some enormous guys in the past. He's used to having a strength disadvantage.
I mean, that fight with Chemo, yeah, that one with Chemo is just unbelievable. Royce tried to elbow. And here we go. Royce able to pull guard. Side control, though, here. No guard side control for Matt Hughes as they go down.
Matt Hughes looks like he's looking to mount. He's got a knee on Royce's stomach. He's going to try to push it through and mount here. That would be a definitive statement if he can mount Royce Gracie.
Matt trying to utilize the side control on Royce. This is not a good position for Royce to be in.
He's got the far side underhook. Look for Matt to drop some elbows on Royce here.
Remember, Royce Gracie in mixed martial arts has never been submitted.
Royce is rolling over. Looks like he's trying to... Matt did a good job of controlling him.
Matt is the stronger of the two competitors on the ground here.
Elbows to the body by Hughes on the top.
If there is a position on the ground that Matt Hughes is comfortable in, this is one of them.
For sure. Matt Hughes always wants to be on top. He is a wrestler.
There's the guard.
Yeah, Royce able to get to half guard.
Half
Nice
guard
job
is
done
trying to
by
get a
Royce.
guillotine on the left side. Matt powers out of it.
So the
Controls
Kimura
Royce's
here.
arm.
He's
got
got
it
diesel
locked
rigs
in.
here in this Kimura.
Can he finish? Can he submit Royce Gracie? Will Matt Hughes make history? Can he work the arm and submit Royce Gracie?
Royce looks calm, but this has got to be a bad position for him. Oh, that arm is bent back.
Matt Hughes trying to finish by submission.
Wow.
How flexible is Royce Gracie? Holy
His arm is bent in a bad angle, man.
Looked like it popped there.
Yeah, it looked like it popped for sure.
No expression on Royce's face at all, though.
Yeah, we don't know if he hurt his left arm there, but Matt's going to keep working on it.
Wow.
Trying to get guard.
The brilliance of Royce Gracie demonstrated there as it looked as if Matt Hughes was going to make history.
That would have been a big statement. All right, he's passed. He's in side control again.
Got him trapped here. He's got arm trapped in crucifix position.
Yeah, he's done that. He loves this position. He's got his back. Wow!
Now Hughes trying to work a choke.
Elbows, ground and pound from the back of Royce Gracie.
Wow, he's got him flattened out.
4 of 5 minutes complete here in round 1. Bad position for Gracie. Great control for Hughes. Got both legs tucked in now.
Stretching Royce out again from this double hook.
Royce is all about survival, though, guys. This is a man who's fought for hours and hours in jiu-jitsu competition.
This has got to be discouraging to him no matter what. He's getting dominated on the ground here. Taking some serious punches, and he's in danger. Big John McCarthy stopping this fight.
Could this be over here? Can Royce defend himself?
Wow, that's it.
All over. Matt Hughes has defeated Royce Gracie.
Wow. Complete and total domination.
Expressionless was Elio. And I will read you what is the most important statement ever made in the UFC. We must have a fighter who can intelligently defend himself. And at that point, Royce Gracie could not intelligently defend himself. He could have been inflicted with great punishment from Matt Hughes in that position, and the right decision was for John McCarthy to stop the fight.
For sure,
Absolutely.
It's the right decision. Let's look at the replay here. Matt has him flattened out, complete control, and just dropping bombs.
Laying and covering your head is not a terribly intelligent defense, but it's the only choice at this point.
And John McCarthy stops the fight as Matt Hughes.
Here's another look at it. Brutal ground and pound. Just a tight back mount and just vicious punches.
Hughes utilizes his trademark ground and pound to defeat the UFC Hall of Famer. Perhaps the most amazing thing was that Royce was not submitted by Matt Hughes. Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Big John McCarthy has called a stop to this contest at 4 minutes 39 seconds of the very first round. For the winner, Matt Hughes.
The one thing that never happens is history leaving us, because history will always be historic, and he will always be a legend, Royce Gracie. But Matt Hughes has made a statement about the present-day mixed martial artist today in defeating the legend. Pat Miletich, Matt Hughes in the octagon, and here's Joe with Matt.
All right, Matt, congratulations on a complete dominant victory. Is this how you expected the fight to go, and how important is this fight to you?
First off, I want to thank God for giving me the power to come in here and even competing with these guys. Number two, I never thought it would be like that. Royce is he's not used to time limits, so he was wanting to start slow, and I'm just lucky in a lot of ways, and one of them, Royce has never had to prepare himself for 3 5-minute rounds.
Now, coming into this fight, a lot of people thought that your game plan would be to try to keep it on the feet, but when it went to the ground, you seemed more than comfortable there and actually controlled the pace. Did that surprise you at all?
Well, I train with the best team in the world, Militich, and we train ground fighting all the time. That's my boys over there if you want to get a pan at them. But I knew I'd be fine on the ground. I did.
And for sure you were. Take a look at the Mickey's replay, look up at the big screen, and talk us through the end of the fight here.
Well, I didn't think much about it. And then I heard Big John say, Royce, get out of there. And that triggered my mind to start punching because he knew that Royce was in a bad situation. So I pressured in, kept my hips on him so he couldn't get up, and I knew that Big John would have to do his job and stop the fight.
How nice was it to not have to lose that extra 5 pounds?
That 175 weight class is perfect for me.
You wish they would change it?
It wouldn't bother me.
All right, now you are the champ at 170. You've got some big fights coming up, a lot of competition in that division, and we look forward to seeing you again. Ladies and gentlemen, the UFC welterweight champion, Matt Hughes.
A great night for Matt Hughes, and Cindy Crawford approves of Hughes' dominance of the Hall of Famer, Royce Gracie.
All right, I'm here with Royce. Royce, you must be disappointed right now. Tell us, what are your thoughts about the fight?
Of course I'm disappointed, but he is the welterweight champion.
Now, you've been here from the beginning. You were the original victor in the UFC, in the UFC 1 tournament. Do you think that you're going to continue fighting, or do you think this is it for you?
I got a couple more on me. Let me go home and heal this up. I'll be back. I'll be back.
Well, the crowd loves that, and it is an honor to watch you compete again. And I've said this before, that you single-handedly redefined martial arts in this country, and seeing you again here was a pleasure. Royce Gracie, ladies and gentlemen.
Randy, Royce is such a disciplined and proud man. The way that Matt dominated him, does it in any way tarnish what Royce Gracie is all about?
I don't think you can ever take away what Royce Gracie's accomplished. What the standard that he set in this sport, it doesn't matter what he does in here tonight. No, everybody is going to respect him forever for what he's accomplished.
And what does this say in your mind about how this sport has moved into the modern age? And we don't need to sit here and talk about the differences in the sport since back in 1993. A sold-out Staples Center makes that statement for us. But there's no longer Randy Couture the wrestler, or Royce Gracie the jiu-jitsu guy, or Tank Abbott the street fighter. It's all about the mixed martial artist.
Absolutely. This is the era of the mixed martial artist. Real fighters in every situation that a fight can go in, having the technical answers to deal with those positions.
Royce Gracie almost had his arm suffer a similar injury, it appeared, to what Tim Sylvia suffered against Frank Mir. How did Royce Gracie avoid the tap when Matt Hughes was working that arm?
I think willpower most of anything. I mean, he had the submission clearly. His arm was hyperextended the wrong way. He managed to rotate his elbow just enough, and it probably popped there. Very painful. But he's not gonna tap. You can see how far that elbow has bent. It's amazing, and there's no way he's gonna tap. Manages to roll it out.
Royce Gracie, spectacular in avoiding the submission, which would have been the first time he had ever been submitted. And the amazing thing about Royce, and we saw it throughout the 90s, is that he just lacks expression. He is always so calm and composed, even tonight in defeat.
Absolutely, and he showed true class, a great warrior, win or lose, and I think he's going to be respected for that.
And for Matt Hughes, now he gets back to the point which is ahead, which is a young, hungry animal, and George St. Pierre and many lined up behind him. But I think this is going to be something that Matt Hughes will put on that trophy case, and this will never be taken away.
I think Matt Hughes is truly honored to have fought a legend in our sport in Royce Gracie. And I think he demonstrated that here tonight with nothing but respect for Royce.
If there was the perfect opponent, for Royce Gracie, it may very well have been Matt Hughes, Randy, for that very reason you just spoke of.
Yeah, I think so. I think in a modern-day mixed martial artist, Matt Hughes is the perfect guy for Royce to fight. He's going to go out. He's going to try and put you on the ground. He's going to put him where Royce is known for, being on his back, where he can use his submission skills.
So Royce Gracie defeated by Matt Hughes by referee stoppage here in the first round. The celebration in the locker room of Hughes. In that celebration, middleweight champion Rich Franklin. And for Matt Hughes, it is a very special night. That moves us to our submission of the night, brought to you by our good friends at Tap Out Clothing Wear at inyourface.com. Joe, our submission of the night.
Submission of the night goes to Dean Lister with a beautiful triangle submission over Alessio Sakara. World Abu Dhabi absolute champion Dean Lister. See that? He just locks in that beautiful tight triangle, squeezes down to the knee. Alessio Sakara is forced to tap out. The tap out of the night.
Tap out of the night brought to you by our friends at Tap Out Clothing Wear at inyourface.com. The jiu-jitsu man came in, did his deal, and Dean Lister, they forced to be reckoned with now that he has made his way to the UFC. Speaking of tapping, I think we knew one thing coming in tonight. Royce Gracie was not going to tap. And if it were any lesser man, I think John McCarthy would have stopped that fight even a bit earlier.
You know what? That straight arm bar that he had, I was really worried about that. It looked like his arm was going to break. And there was a moment where it looked like it popped, and I'm not sure if it did. But, yeah, Royce was going to let his arm break for sure before he tapped.
You know, Joe, the interesting thing about tonight is that now the past is the past, and the present is clearly the present, and the present-day warrior is one that is very tough to defeat.
Well, you know what? I mean, that's the evolution of all sports. I mean, you originally have the guys who understand what's going on against, guys with one boxing glove who had no clue as to what was going on, and that's what we had with Royce Gracie in the early UFCs. Now what you have with a guy like Matt Hughes, you have elite athletes, who train in all aspects of the game, have superior conditioning, superior strength and explosiveness, and you see the result tonight.
The interesting thing is, as we welcome back in Randy the Natural Couture, is what does Royce Gracie do now? You and I both agreed that this does not tarnish the legend, which is Royce Gracie, but he has been defeated for the very first time in what he says is his home.
Yeah, well, he showed some stand-up, some kicks. He looked like he definitely been working on his stand-up skills, so he's going to, like all of us, continue to progress as a mixed martial artist. I guarantee you, as he said, he's going to be back in there.
At 39 years old, there is no doubt in your mind, young man, that he can continue to succeed.
Yeah, I don't think age is an issue here. I don't think it's passed him by. Technical, yes, he has technical issues that he's going to continue to sort out. He's a warrior. He's going to be back in the cage.
He certainly is, and a man who knows very well about that, Randy Couture. And, Joe, you could see, again, the lack of expression on the face of Royce Gracie, but that is the master in which he is, and even in defeat, he never showed any type of disappointment.
No, that's, Royce is a warrior. He's a very proud guy. I mean, he's not going to wince in pain. He's not going to, quit early. He gutted it out, and he did what he was capable of doing. But unfortunately, he was there against a guy who's much stronger, much bigger, much more athletic, much more explosive, and a guy who is more evolved.
That point being said, he showed no emotion to the fans here inside the Staples Center, but when he got back into the solitude of his locker room, the emotion started to pour over for a very disappointed Royce Gracie.
I don't know if that's Royce's daughter or who that is, but yeah, I mean, Royce is he's obviously very dejected and very disappointed. And I mean, if he does want to continue fighting, he has to stop and think about how much work he's going to have to do to try to catch up to even guys who are not as good as Matt Hughes. It's a very difficult road ahead if he chooses to take it.
Elio Gracie was the man who brought it here to our country. Royce Gracie was the man who delivered the message, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu will live forever because of the Gracie family, and for that, Royce should always be remembered as a true Hall of Famer.
For sure, and like I've said many times, he is the guy who single-handedly, with his victories, redefined the way people look at fighting, and he is one of the most famous and influential martial artists in the history of the world.
Joe, thank you very much. Randy the Natural Couture, pleasure to have you in the broadcast booth tonight,
Thanks,
and
Mike.
We will see you again down the road.
Absolutely.
All right, a wonderful night indeed. History was made tonight as the torch was passed from the legend to the soon-to-be legendary Matt Hughes. So we are set to bid farewell to beautiful Los Angeles, California, but as I mentioned earlier, it will be a very busy summer for the Ultimate Fighting Championship, and it begins with the Ultimate Fighter 3 finale Saturday, June 24th Live from the joint at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. 2 more 6-figure contracts will be awarded. Kenny Florian fights Sam Stout in the main event live on Spike TV. Now also live on Spike TV, just 4 days later, it's Ultimate Fight Night Live, Wednesday, June 28th. The headliner that night, Chris Lieben against Anderson Silva. Then UFC 61 Bitter Rivals comes your way from the Mandalay Bay Event Center, Saturday, July 8th, Ortiz Shamrock 2. Sylvia Arlovsky again for the heavyweight championship. Tickets go on sale tomorrow. And don't forget, for all the post-game reaction to tonight's activities here from the Staples Center, you can log on right now to UFC.com. That's UFC.com for post-fight interviews. A sold-out Staples Center here in beautiful Los Angeles, California. A night that will go down in UFC history. Many were victorious in different ways. A flying knee here from Spencer the King Fisher, the beautiful Rochelle Leah. A victory lap eventually would come from Melvin Gillard, our executive producers, Frank Fertitta III, Lorenzo Fertitta, and UFC President Dana White. Our supervising producer is Craig Borsari. Our coordinating producer, Tim O'Toole. Producer, Bruce Connell. Director, Anthony Pasquale Giordano. And our technical producer is always Alan Connell. Joe Silva, the matchmaker, brought us some great events here tonight. Some great masterful jiu-jitsu and guillotine chokes like that one from Brandon Vera. Then it was John Alessio against the legend, which is the Ultimate Fighter 1 middleweight champion, Diego Sanchez. Diego was frustrated, but in the end, he came away with the win. Time now for Dean Lister to step out of the shadows of Team Punishment and Tito Ortiz and into his own limelight. Did he enjoy it? I guarantee you he did. And then it was history. Royce Gracie against Matt Hughes. John McCarthy said, let's get it on. History was made, Royce was back, and then Royce was defeated. So long from Los Angeles, everybody.